Hey there, folks. It's me, R.C. Mulhare, on my second evening of these chilling bedtime stories. And without further ado, here's chapter two. All rhymes intended. Chapter two. A day later, Fiona came back to her room after perusing the newspapers at the Pollard Library's main reading room and found a letter thrust under her door. Pulling it out, she let herself in and sat on the creaking cot bed to open the envelope. September 10th, 1870. Dear Mrs. Canine, we are pleased to inform you that we have selected you to fill the position of a first chambermaid in our household. Room and board will be provided, and your wages shall be $2.50 per week to be paid on Saturday. You will have Sunday as a half day. Your starting day shall be this following Monday, September the 13th. We hope to see you arrive at 10 in the morning. You will answer to Mrs. Hawker, our housekeeper. We look forward to having you in our employ. Sincerely, Quentin and Avril Montague. Himself likely wrote the letter, Fiona said, eyeing the title that did not match her actual state in life, but that detail could not dampen her elation and relief to have employment at last. The following Monday, carrying a carpet bag and a wicker suitcase containing her worldly possessions, she walked the length of Merrimack Street to Smithen Street and thence along the board sidewalks to number 290. She went to the servants' entrance on the ground floor, a black painted door set low enough to require her to descend 2 steps below the sidewalk. She knocked and waited a moment. Footsteps plodded on the flagstones within, and the door opened, a thin-faced woman wearing a simple dust cap peering out. "Oh, you must be the new girl, yes?" The woman, clearly a kitchen maid, asked with a mild French accent. "Mrs. Hawker, the housekeeper, will see you. I am Adele, the kitchen maid." She stepped aside, letting Fiona enter a small vestibule that opened into a common area just off the kitchen. Mrs. Hawker, a tall, raw-boned Englishwoman standing by the plain pine table that ran down the middle of the space, looked up and down Fiona, narrowing her steely gray eyes. Fiona had received such scrutiny a few times before. "Well, I don't doubt the master's judgment. You look sturdy enough to shoulder the tasks you'll perform. Are you married?" "No, ma'am, I never was," Fiona replied. "How old are you?" "I'll be 40 next March, ma'am." "At your age and with your looks, you won't be trouble," she said, her eyes on Fiona's dark brown hair, barely touched with gray, peeping from under her black straw hat. "Don't expect to make a match among the footmen, unlike your predecessor. Remember your place." "When you put it that way, you make it hard for a girl to forget," Fiona thought, though the matter of her predecessor explained Mrs. Hawker's coolness. Out loud she said, "I'll remember that, ma'am." The housekeeper led her upstairs and down the long hallways of the second floor, stopping at the bedroom doors. "You'll be in charge of the bedrooms. You'll sweep the floors and brush the rugs every day and dust every other day. Lay the fires every morning and empty the chamber pots. Garson, the chief valet, looks after Mr. Montague, while Miss Asenath helps Mrs. Montague with her hair and her stays. When they're busy with them, you will remain outside the room till they're finished. Guessing from your references and your record, I needn't remind you to be sharp, keep your eyes down, your hands busy, and your mouth shut unless the master or the lady of the house speaks to you first." She talks to me as if I'd first come off the boat, Fiona thought. Resisting her annoyance, she replied, "Yes, ma'am." Mrs. Hawker led the way to the ground floor and the female servants' quarters. "You are to sweep the hallway of each floor, including the ground floor." They descended the staircase, passing by a thick door fastened with a large iron padlock on a hasp, a step down to it covered with a layer of dust. "If I might be so bold, I can see why you needed me. It looks as though my not-so-illustrious predecessor wasn't so handy with a broom," Fiona said. Mrs. Hawker stopped in her tracks, her spine straightening under her black gabardine gown. "The master wishes that doorway left alone, and you may not be so bold as to make would-be witticisms." "As you wish, ma'am," Fiona replied. "It might be an out-of-the-way corner on the ground floor, but who ever heard of the master of the house wishing a corner left unswept?" she wondered. These first few chapters are admittedly a little on the slow side, but trust me, it picks up very soon. So I had a lot of fun writing this. Some of it was kind of honoring my Irish immigrant ancestors, some of whom worked as domestics, some of whom on the other side of the family were actually married into money. So I've kind of got the best of both worlds. I also have some ancestors that worked in retail. They even owned their own little corner shop deal in Lowell. So a little bit of history, a little bit of mystery. I had a lot of fun writing this. It was just, it was just one of those stories I decided I just wanted it to exist. A friend of mine was looking for historical Gothic stories, but she wanted things with a little bit of a twist, not necessarily the 20-something white girl in the tower. It could be people with immigrant experiences, people of color, all different shapes and colors and flavors of people, just something different besides, the white girl in her billowing white nightgown running away from like a spooky looking house with a storm brewing in the background. That sort of cover from, that you see on 1970s through, I'd say, early 90s gothic romance novel covers. Do they still publish those? I know that some of them have a market for paranormal romance, but do they still do those, girl in the creaky old house novels? I'll have to look into that. But anyway, so till tomorrow night, you folks keep it creepy.